So as we start, I'd just like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners and the custodians of the lands where we gather across Queensland and across Australia. We pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the important roles that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples play in relation to the land, sky and waterways that are used for outdoor activities. I'm in Brisbane, or Meanjin, on Yagara country, which is a place of the Jagera and Turrbal peoples. Last Friday was National Sorry Day, and this week's National Reconciliation Week. So I just wanted to highlight that, and we'll just talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We'll also acknowledge the funding that's provided by the Queensland Government, which supports outdoor activities right across the state, and the funding that lets us do our work. And there's quite a few different government departments who are doing work and have done work in relation to outdoor activities, which includes our friends at the Department of Sport and Recreation, or within the Department of Tourism, Innovation and Sport. So welcome to, this is our 6th episode of Coffee and Conversation for 2023. My name's Dom Courtney, Executive Officer at Outdoors Queensland. A big welcome to everyone, including those joining us from interstate. I'm not going to mention the State of Origin victory on Wednesday night or Thursday night, Laurie. I wouldn't do that to you, so we'll just keep on moving. Oh no, I'm not going to mention it at all. I'm not even wearing my jersey. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't join your session with my State of Origin jersey on just to do that. I just wouldn't do that. I'm more polite.
Recording then, so I can't prove it.
So that's it. We won't mention it again unless necessary. Yeah. So as I said before, recordings are available on our website, and please feel free to ask questions. This is Coffee and Conversation. So yeah. Our agenda, it's mostly about opportunities. We'll just discuss a little bit about the seemingly never-ending COVID. But if you want to suggest any topics for suggestion, just let me know. Particularly for any future sessions, I'm more than happy to have those discussions. So, a couple of very quickly on the COVID world. The public health emergency ended in Queensland in October last year, which seems to be a long time ago, but we still have this traffic light system, which is about helping us understand the current level of risk and taking precautions. That setting's still at green, which is their baseline level. That actually says on the website that means Queensland is not in a COVID wave, but it doesn't mean COVID is all over. I think there is talk about a 5th wave of COVID, but I think we need to see what happens. So it still has the same precautions as we've had for quite a while. This little infographic about staying up to date with boosters and vaccination, wearing a mask to reduce risk, testing for COVID if you have symptoms, staying home when sick, keeping distance and good hand hygiene. Seems to be sort of taken for granted a bit now, I think, but it's probably still an idea. I've heard of a few people recently who've had COVID, and still about good vigilance, I suppose, and that bottom line messaging of if you're feeling sick, stay home and get tested. It's still there for everyone, and I think it's important as outdoor organisations that we continue to do the right thing, and that makes sure our clients and customers understand and feel safe that we're doing the right things in relation to that as well. The Education Queensland still has its rules for state schools on its website. This website hasn't been updated since January this year, but I've actually contacted Education Queensland to see if they are going to update it, because it still has specific requirements for school camps and excursions. I haven't got an answer to that yet, but I'll certainly let you know when I have a response to that question. So, yeah, I don't know if they think it's all over and haven't updated the website, or they're still just hedging the bets a little bit and keeping the protocols about different actions. So I'll certainly keep on the case on that one. Any questions, comments, please sing out. But So the next one, as I mentioned earlier, this week's National Reconciliation Week for 2023. And Reconciliation Australia has plenty of information about National Reconciliation Week on their website. The theme this year is Be a Voice for Generations, and their website actually says it's calling on all Australians to act today to tackle the unfinished business of reconciliation. It's really quite interesting, the information that's on their website about what this can all be, and talking about building a better nation and a more united Australia. Yeah, I think obviously with the referendum on the voice, which is scheduled to be held before the end of the year, I think this is even more timely, I guess, than it has been in other years. So I just wanted to highlight that. There's a really good quick 30-second video on the Reconciliation Australia website, and I'm just going to attempt to share that. And the word is attempt, the key word here. I'll just attempt to share that one as well. So just bear with me for a second. Let's see if this works.
We've come a long way in our journey towards reconciliation. For years, generations of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have joined with other Australians to fight for meaningful change. But reconciliation isn't a single moment. It's small steps and great strides, and together we can take giant leaps towards a more reconciled country. Be a voice for generations.
I'm just getting back to the slideshow. So yeah, I guess the key part of that for us is, that making up your mind and being part of the conversation, I think, is the key part of it, and understanding what it means for the nation as a whole. So yeah, I think it's worth sharing those resources and thinking about what reconciliation is this week. And there are some events that are happening tomorrow, even on the National Reconciliation Week website, and some that go beyond this week. So it's worth checking it out on their website. And I haven't shared, I should have shared that, sorry. I'll just pop that in into the chat. You can tell that I haven't got Mark here, my normal offsider, to do the background stuff for me, but I hope he's having a great break. A few other matters. Sport and Rec funding, Queensland Sport and Rec funding. There's a few programs that are currently open, including the Fair Play vouchers, the disaster recovery program, and the Emerging Athletes Pathways program. We've discussed them in previous sessions. Just want to flag that they are still open. It's worth checking out their website. I'll just pop the link to that in the chat as well. If you're interested in any of that, yeah, please have a look at it. And there is some good information there, and it's worth checking out the eligibility criteria. So I'd like to hand over to a special guest, Ian Neville. Ian's a PhD candidate at Federation Uni in Victoria. So I'm not sure if you're from Victoria originally, Ian, or if, I hope you haven't come there from New South Wales, because I don't have to mention a certain game of football that happened, 2 of them this week, but I won't mention it. So Ian is doing a research study into, I guess, seeking feedback from outdoor education students and early career outdoor ed teachers. And I'll hand over to Ian to tell us a bit more about it. Over to you, Ian.
Thanks, Dom. And maybe you should mention it, because we don't hear much about rugby down here. So it's all AFL. So I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Ian.
Oh, sorry. I really don't hear much in here. That's all. I'm just trying to stay updated. No, thank you for having me on, Dom. I really appreciate taking up some of your time, and with the group as well. It's it's great to be able to share some of these things. My current research project, we've just released a survey, and as Dom said, we are looking into pre-service teachers, so teachers or students who are studying an outdoor education, outdoor recreation, outdoor leadership degree at a university. We're asking them and early career teachers, outdoor education teachers, to complete this survey. And what we're seeking is we're trying to find out and understand what constitutes the outdoor education teacher's identity, and what are the factors that influence that, whether it be coming into a university course, through a university course, and into their first 5 years of teaching. And we're hoping that sort of by the end of this, we'll be able to inform some teacher education courses, outdoor education courses, and also how to provide better support to outdoor education teachers within school settings and so on, to be able to, really develop into some excellent, outdoor teachers that develop and provide excellent programs and curriculum for our students at schools. So that's the sort of survey we have. Previously there's been a bit of research done within teacher education identities, but not specifically outdoor teacher identity. So we sort of want to see, is it the same as every other teacher, or is their identity different, and why? So it's sort of hopefully important stuff that we'll be able to feed back to the outdoor sector and be able to provide some recommendations on what we could do to the sector, and also provide that for the needs of those that work it.
Great, thanks, Ian. And so I guess I've just shared the link to the survey in the chat.
Thank you.
So if anyone fits that category of being a outdoor ed student, or an early career outdoor ed teacher, or someone who does, forward that to those people and encourage them to fill it out and provide that information so that Ian can work his magic. And good luck with your PhD, Ian. It is an interesting concept, isn't it? I think while I was talking, I did briefly mention a certain game of football earlier. It's really all about the outdoors here, and I think most of those, outdoor ed teachers and outdoor ed students, I think they are a little bit different to the standard classroom teacher, and particularly people who've maybe moved into that space from having had time in classrooms where it's a different space. So I think there is it'll be interesting to see what comes through in your survey as far as what those differences might be, and also what the similarities are, I guess. So yeah, well done on doing that piece of work. It sounds really interesting, and look forward to hearing more about it too.
Thank you. No worries. I'll certainly be keeping you updated. So thanks heaps.
No worries. Thanks for joining us. A couple of more announcements. This one's particularly important, and obviously everyone here would be well aware that the nominations are about to open for the 2023 Outdoors Queensland Awards. So they're open next Monday, the 5th of June. So our awards are about recognising and rewarding excellence in the outdoor community, celebrating individuals, organisations, programs, events and activities. It's pretty broad, that have successfully improved outcomes for participants, clients and communities. You can nominate yourself or someone else or an organisation that's doing wonderful things in the outdoors, and there really is a category for everyone in our awards. So please check out the website for more information on that one. And if you've got any queries, that we'll send out a bulletin next week to everyone who's on our mailing list. If you've got any queries about it, please give us a call and check out the email, the website for plenty of info. Next one, Laurie, this has nothing to do with the State of Origin. I just thought I'd give you an opportunity to promote your summit at Lennox Head, because Laurie wanted to get it as close as possible to Queensland this year. So it's good how I've been so restrained, isn't it?
I'm up to number 10. You've said State of Origin 10 times already. So
I've barely
let's
mentioned
just
it.
try to hit 20, shall we?
Oh, that's what's that in 15 minutes. I think 20, I can do more than that. Anyway, Outdoors New South Wales ACT are hosting the Outdoor Industry Summit at Lennox Head from the 28th to 30th of June. So, Laurie, do you want to give us a bit more info on that one?
So kind of you. No, thank you so much. Yeah, look, this is a great opportunity for everyone to come together. So look, we are right on your border. So we're definitely welcoming Queenslanders, even though you beat us this week. We're getting you back in a couple of weeks' time. So it's all good. And yeah, we'll have a whole 2 days of issues and challenges that the outdoor industry is facing, throwing them in front of key policy decision makers and asking them to help us come up with the answers. So it's a little bit different to your usual outdoor conference. So, but you have to be part of that conversation if you really want to see, change for the better. So we're really looking forward to it. We've got people like the Bureau of Meteorology coming along, talking to us about climate change and all the challenges associated with that and what we need to think about for the future. Yeah, some great keynote speakers, which, at the end of the day, the keynotes really resonate with everyone in the room on various topics. So hopefully we can see you there. And of course, all Outdoors Queensland members we treat as our own, and you have a special offer, which is $100 per person off.
Awesome. Thanks, Laurie. And tickets are still available. And just if you need that link to get the discount rate, just send me through an email and I can send it out to you. That's available to all Outdoors Queensland members, thanks to Laurie's generosity. So thanks for that, Laurie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Also in the world of conferences, Outdoors Victoria have got their conference coming up as well, which is the 13th and 14th of July, so a couple of weeks after Laurie's conference. It's actually another large conference. They've got 4 different streams, so education and outdoor learning, including outdoor and environmental studies, health and wellbeing, camps and outdoor providers, and then nature and climate as a separate stream as well this year, which is really interesting to see that that's become a stream in itself on their conference. So that one's, as it says on the screen there, or actually it says earlier tickets on there. I think it was an old picture, but yeah, so it'll be held at it's gone out of my head. Sorry.
Box Hill Institute.
The Box Hill TAFE, yeah, Box Hill Institute, yeah. So it's not far outside Melbourne, but I think it's far enough outside that it's going to be an interesting retreat for everyone going off to the conference. So yeah, and I know Andrew's really keen to see as many people as possible coming along to the conference. Did you want to add something there, Ian?
I was just going to say it's about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes from Melbourne. So it's it is quite a beautiful spot, but just on the verge of getting out into the bush. So. Yeah,
which is great. Like I think, as far as having an outdoors conference, it's nice to have it in outside of the city, etc. So yeah.
Don't know too, if people have students in Victoria, for Federation and Vic Uni and La Trobe students, they're actually getting some free accommodation. And I'm sure Andrew would open that up to, if there were students outside of Victoria who were wanting to take that offer up, I'm sure he would look at that. Or Andrew McGackian's probably the one to talk to about that. But he'll probably
awesome.
Yeah, why not?
That's all right. Yeah, maybe if they fill out your survey, they get free accommodation. Is that it, Ian?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Andrew can pay for it. Yeah, that's cool.
That's it.
Yeah, terrific. All right. And I just popped the link there to their conference webpage as well. So moving right along, this one again, nothing to do with State of Origin. It is about sport, but it's more than sport, and that's why I've been talking about this one for quite a while. So the Brisbane 2032 Legacy Plan is about how we take advantage of the Olympic and Paralympic Games platform, and it's specifically about driving economic, social and environmental outcomes before, during and after the Games. It's called the Brisbane 2032 legacy plan, but it's really about Southeast Queensland, Queensland, Australia, and even Oceania was included in their description of the benefits of these games for when they did their bid. And the Oceania piece has come up quite strongly as far as how does this major event have benefits much more broadly than for the host city or cities. So they've just released what they're calling Elevate 2042, which is a summary of all the ideas that have been shared through surveys and stakeholder engagement, and the Legacy Forum, which was held in March that I managed to attend. They want feedback now on the draft vision, themes, and focus areas so that they can then contribute that into the actual 2032 legacy plan. They want feedback on the legacy themes and focus areas, whether they're the areas that they should concentrate on or we should concentrate our efforts on. And then the other one, the legacy vision, whether that accurately describes what we want to achieve. And they deliberately use a time frame of 2042. So they're saying that the legacy of the games needs to go out well beyond the games themselves. Some of the ideas that came out of the feedback so far and the forum are things like a legacy forest. So across Southeast Queensland, having an interconnected natural spaces that people can access, and that would be pretty awesome from a outdoor activity point of view. So having that sort of network of trails right across a broad landscape like Southeast Queensland would be pretty amazing outcome from something like that. There'd be all sorts of interesting things involved in how it might be managed and maintained, but it's a big event and we should be thinking big. And that was certainly the message at that forum about what they wanted, bold ideas. So I'll just share a link, a couple of links to the actual legacy program webpage, but also the survey itself. So that this survey is on another page. It's one of these government have you say web pages. So I just popped that on there as well. So that's available right now. So it's worth having a look at those surveys and getting involved if you get the chance, because the more people I think from our space who have their say on it, the more likely that those legacy outcomes are going to be more relevant to healthier, more active outdoor community. So the more we can do to influence that, the better as far as I'm concerned. So please check that out. Moving right along, and I don't think I mentioned Origin at all then, Laurie, so that was good. The National Centre for Outdoor Risk and Readiness, that was set up by Outward Bound early last year, and it's about assisting the outdoor sector to adapt and prepare for the impacts of climate change. So the key part of this, they're looking at what they can do to help the outdoor sectors, industry, to adapt and be ready. So as part of this, NatCor is actually running some incident response workshops. There's 10 separate events run across the country. I think the first one's actually the day before the Outdoors Vic conference. And then there's in WA, and also, Laurie, there's one in Canberra, or two in Canberra and two in New South Wales as well. Yep. And then the final two, because they leave the best for the last state, the final two are up here in Queensland. And they're all about professional development in critical incident response planning and leadership. Quite amazing the presenters they've got. So Claire Dallett from Risk Resolve, which some of you might know, but also Deb Ayango and Sonia Sabeski, who are internationally renowned. Claire is too, of course. But yeah, so they're the international guests as well, which is pretty awesome to have them coming. So the two Queensland events, they're both in Brisbane at the Australian Catholic University at Banyo on Thursday the 27th and Friday the 28th of July. So they're described as being for middle managers and senior managers, which is like they're different sessions, the 2 days. It's pick the one that's most appropriate for you. And the content's, different content's being delivered on the different days, as I said. So yeah, worth having a look. Outdoors Queensland, we're sort of co-hosting those ones for the Brisbane events, the Queensland ones. So keen to be involved in that as well. So yeah, I think just I'll share the link to that one as well on the sorry, Lo, you put a comment in the chat. What's that 14? Any explanation on that, or
I don't know, Tom. I really
that's about
know. Because it's
okay.
going to go 15 if I mention it.
Okay. I just shared the link there to the NatCore incident workshops anyway, incident response workshops. So yeah. All right. The Australian mountain bike trail guidelines. I mentioned this in our last session. The Oz Cycling have actually made those guidelines free to download on their website. Previously, you could only purchase them in hard copy. So they're much more accessible now. Craig Meneke from Blue Sky Trails, who's a member of ours, he actually edited these guidelines and has been involved with this project for quite a few years and is working with Oz Cycling on making these more available and implementing it right across. So it's all about mountain bike trails, but the guidelines are really detailed as really for any trail construction side of things. The Oz Cycling will be doing a webinar about the implementation, but Blue Sky Trails, which is Craig's company, they're also going to do some training webinars about addressing how specific elements of the guidelines can be applied to provide more effective trail management and building and maintaining trails. And it's quite practical, I think, some of the stuff in there. So we might get Craig to join us for a future session to speak about this more. And I think it's it's a valuable one in relation to trying to raise the standard for trail construction and trail management for mountain biking, but also for walking, horse riding, and potentially other activities out there on the trails. So I think it's a really good thing that that Oz Cycling are doing, but also the work that Craig's been doing on that for quite a while. So yeah, we'll see if we can get Craig to join us for one of these sessions sometime soon. I'll just pop that link in. Any questions, comments? Sorry, I know I sometimes steamroll along. Just have to keep remembering not to mention State of Origin. Otherwise, Laurie will get upset. Glad I didn't mention it. Big heads up. We are going to be conducting the first ever Queensland Outdoor Census in July. So this is it's aimed at all outdoor and nature-based organisations who are operating in Queensland. So what we're talking about is measuring the outdoor organisations, like literally understanding how many outdoor organisations there are across the state, whether that's number of clubs, number of businesses, number of sole operators who might operate as a tour guide. We want to know who you are, what you do, where you do it, how many people you do it with. We're not trying to get to, at this stage, what are the key issues or the burning bridges that are affecting your organisation. It's really about doing a census and understanding who's out there. It's just going to be a short survey, should only take a few minutes to complete. And what we want is as many organisations as possible to complete that survey to build up a really big picture and a true picture of the Queensland outdoor sectors. So we can put out an awesome survey, but it doesn't mean much if we don't get plenty of people to fill it out. It's possibly not the same level as Ian's PhD survey, but it's the same principle, I think. The more people who fill this out, the more organisations that do it, the better the results that we'll get right across the board for everyone. We really need organisations to stand up and be counted. And the other part that we really love is if you can encourage other people, other organisations to also complete the survey. So we're happy for you to forward it on to people We know there's a risk that some organisations might get it more than once. We're hoping they'll only fill it out once. But the key part of that is really that everyone gets an opportunity to fill it out, even if they haven't engaged directly with Outdoors Queensland before. We want everyone across Queensland to fill it in, no matter whether they're someone like, Bushwalking Queensland, who have been engaged with us forever, which is literally from forever. Bushwalking Queensland were right there at the start when Corf first formed, through to someone we've never met, never engaged with, but we'd love everyone to have opportunities to fill this survey in and be part of the picture. So that's what we're after. We'll give you a lot more information as we get to the point of opening that census up for everyone to complete. But yeah, I just wanted to flag that. If there's any questions about the census, happy to talk about that now. But yeah, there'll be a lot more info once we get there for the census. It'll be opening in the mid-July. Any questions? Oh, cool.
I think I'll just jump in, Dom, and just
Yeah.
reiterate really, because with these sorts of things, I think for an outdoor organisation like yourselves who are there to support these businesses and companies and organisations and education institutions and so on, the more information you have, the greater your assistance can be. And so it really is a great opportunity, I think, to get to know the sector up in Queensland and really sort of see what people are doing, how they're doing it, where they're doing it, etc., etc. And then you can really target, well, okay, this is how we need to help our sector up here. So congratulations on taking the initiative to do it. I think it's wonderful. So good on you.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, and we are going to make that methodology available to the likes of Outdoors New South Wales and ACT, Outdoors Vic, Outdoors WA, Outdoors South Australia, etc. And the point of that is to try to build up a national picture of the outdoors, hopefully using the same methodology to develop that, so we get a decent national picture. And that also helps us in representing the entire outdoor sectors to decision makers. As Laurie said, she's got a range of decision makers coming to the summit in Lennox Head at the end of June. But the more we can put those stats before people and say, there are, X thousand organisations and there are this many schools that actively engage in outdoor education, there are this many school camp providers, there are this many clubs across Australia, across Queensland, it helps us to do what we do on behalf of all the outdoor organisations as well. So we've kept this census at the organisation level. We didn't want to put it out there to every single individual who engages in outdoor activities, because I like to say that's the entire population. Because if you literally walk out your front door and walk to the shops, as far as I'm concerned, you're doing an outdoor activity because you're going outdoors. If you go and climb a tree, that's an outdoor activity. So we've actually kept it at the organisation level, and the survey, we're trying to make it as inclusive as possible as well, so that whether it's a tourism operator, an adventure therapy or business, a bushwalking club or a paddling club, or a school or other outdoor ed provider, that's what we want all of those to be able to fill this survey in. So all at the organisation level. So, yeah.
Thanks for taking the lead on this, Dom. I think it's, as you say, it's so important, and the consistency of the data is really what's going to bring the power of that data as well. I mean, Ian and I were talking about, the luxury of the tourism industry having the NVS, the National Visitor Survey, as likely as it is, whether it's, quite flawed in some of the numbers, but it's got this consistency approach. So it's always going to show those trend analysis that we just haven't got access to. So this is a start, hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks, Laurie. And the other part of it too is we are deliberately designing it to be replicable in, say, 4 or 5 years' time, and do it multiple times over the next however long, hopefully many years, well beyond my tenure here. But and I deliberately pitched that when I talked to, we have funding from Sport and Rec from the government to do it, and I actually said in the lead up to 2032, these figures will be wonderful to talk about the number of outdoor organisations right across Queensland and looking at those trends. And it'll also potentially be a measure of the success of the legacy of the 2032. If it does get more people more active, we should see it reflected in numbers of outdoor organisations and numbers of people that our outdoor organisations are dealing with as clients or members. So it's a really good little pulse, but we need everyone involved to fill the survey in and give us the information so that we can really make the most of it. All right, did I share? Oh, Gavin's asking if, Laurie, if you're counting my state of origin or just wanting, is it just a count of how far Queensland going to beat New South Wales by on the next game? Oh, it's just gone up again. Oh no. Oh, sorry. Righto. Did I share the mountain bike? And I'll give you a sneak peek. We've just got a web page. It's sort of a holding page, but I'll pop it in here for the census. If you want a little bit more information, it includes a funky countdown counter for how many days before the census launches, but there'll be more information on there. We'll get a lot more out once we do launch the census. All right. I don't think we've got anyone from inside the outhouse joining us today. They are still running their sessions a little bit less regularly than it had been in the past, but they've still got some sessions coming up. We've still got a bit of time. I do want to remind everyone about our resources, the websites, the e-bulletins. If you're not subscribed to our e-news, please feel free to subscribe to those. We try not to spam you too much, but we do send out bulletins, particularly on relevant information for outdoor operators and outdoor people. That's our key in there. We try not to overdo it, but we will be putting some information out in the next little while, particularly about the awards nominations for opening up, but also the census as well, and other important things like our interstate happenings like Laurie's Summit and the Outdoors Victoria Conference and our annual bulletins, and also our social media. If you haven't already, not that I'm a big promoter of social media, and I'm probably not a good enough user of social media. I should be taking some photos of myself at different things and popping it on there just so you can see I'm out there doing stuff. But yeah, check out our social media as well when you get a chance. That's about it for today. Our next session is 11 o'clock Friday the 7th of July. I think I got the date right there. I had a bit of a date schmozzle earlier on one of my slides, but it came good. I might have got away with it. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it, like I didn't mention the State of Origin victories in the men's on Wednesday, and then the women's last night was also a wonderful game too. I'm not sure if everyone watched that, but you should have, because it was terrific. Yeah. I might finish off there unless anyone has any other things I'd like to talk about. Give you all guys a chance. No, all good. We get an early mark, which is pretty good on a Friday, really. Gavin, did you?
Yeah, just starting to ramp up for Queensland Walks Month in August, with Redland area being the focus area. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Do you want
getting into that?
Do you want to give us a bit more information on that next session, Gavin, or like on for the Redlands? Yeah, that'd be great if you can do that. I'll pop a note down and I'll maybe give you a reminder in the lead up to the next one in July. But yeah, Queensland Walk Month is it's an initiative of Queensland Walks. And Gavin's on the board there now, as well as his Bushwalking Queensland and Bushwalking Australia roles. With busy man, Gavin. So yeah, but yeah, it's a terrific thing as far as getting more people out there and active, and particularly walking across all the different spaces, whether it's urban or in natural areas. Queensland Walks is just trying to push that barrow and get more people outdoors and active. So that's great. Thanks, Gavin. All righty. Well, if no one else has got anything else, I just want to say a big thank you to all Outdoors Queensland members, volunteers and staff who contribute to what we do. Thanks to everyone who gets involved in the outdoors, and remember Ian's survey, forward that to anyone you know who might fit those categories of early career or a student of outdoor education. We've got the links on our website too for that one as well. So I'll just sign off with my little saying. I'm not going to mention State of Origin again, Laurie. So I'd just like to encourage you to be kind to our planet, be kind to others, even be kind to New South Welsh people, but also most importantly, be kind to yourselves. Thanks.